In 1947, the British left the Indian subcontinent. Two new nations were born, Hindu-majority India and Muslim-majority Pakistan. But Pakistan was oddly shaped. It had two separate parts, West Pakistan and East Pakistan, split by 1,600 kilometers of Indian territory. Same religion? Yes, but different language, culture, and identity. What could possibly go wrong? It didn't take long to find out. In 1952, students in East Pakistan took to the streets, protesting the imposition of Urdu as the only national language by the government in West Pakistan. They demanded the right to speak Bengali, their mother tongue, but the response turned violent. Several students lost their lives that day, and years later, UNESCO declared the 21st of February as International Mother Language Day to honor their sacrifice. After the language movement of 1952, East Pakistan's frustrations kept building. So, in 1966, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the voice of East Pakistan, presented his six-point demand at a political conference in Lahore. He called for autonomy, control over taxes, trade, currency, and even a local militia. To West Pakistan, it sounded like rebellion. To the East, it was justice. Because, despite making up the majority of Pakistan's population, East Pakistan held almost no power. Economically exploited, politically sidelined. They were tired of being treated like a colony. But the West Pakistani leadership, led by General Ayub Khan, rejected the demands without hesitation. And on June 19, 1968, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was arrested, a move Ayub thought would silence the movement. But it did the opposite. Mass protests erupted across East Pakistan. The people were ready for a revolution. Facing mounting pressure, Ayub Khan released Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on February 22, 1969. But the damage was done. Ayub stepped down and was replaced by General Yahya Khan. To calm the unrest, Yahya Khan announced general elections for 1970. But the results stunned West Pakistan. The Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, won a majority, 167 out of 313 seats. But there was one problem. All 167 seats won by the Awami League were from East Pakistan, not a single seat from the West. Meanwhile, the second largest party, the Pakistan People's Party, led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, won 86 seats, but all of theirs came from West Pakistan. The divide couldn't be clearer. The East had won. The West wasn't ready to accept it. Bhutto refused, and the military ruler, General Yahya Khan, sided with him. Then, on March 1, 1971, Yahya Khan suspended the National Assembly session, effectively cancelling the election results. East Pakistan erupted in rage. They didn't just want equal treatment anymore, they wanted freedom from the West. Protesters took to the streets, burning down government buildings, shouting slogans of independence. And then, on the 7th of March, 1971, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman stood before a sea of people and gave a historic speech. He didn't declare independence just yet, but he called for non-cooperation, for defiance. It was a turning point. The fire had been lit, and the Bangladesh Liberation War had begun. In the chaos that followed, a resistance force emerged, the Mukti Bahini. Made up of Bengali soldiers, students and civilians, the Mukti Bahini began a guerrilla war against the West Pakistani army in East Pakistan. They struck from the shadows, sabotaging military posts, disrupting supply lines, and keeping the enemy constantly on edge. Meanwhile, across the border, India began training and arming the Mukti Bahini, turning them into a more organized and lethal force. West Pakistan responded with brutal force. They launched Operation Shanti Bahini, a crackdown riddled with war crimes, targeting civilians, torching villages, and using fear as a weapon. But the worst was yet to come. The West Pakistani leadership wanted to crush the dream of freedom once and for all. And so, on March 25, 1971, they launched Operation Searchlight, a calculated genocide. The objective was clear: search and eliminate anyone demanding independence. More than 1,000 students and professors were killed in cold blood at Dhaka University. It was only the beginning. In the weeks that followed, hundreds of thousands of innocent Bangladeshis were murdered. Estimates say anywhere from 300,000 to 3 million civilians lost their lives during the genocide. West Pakistani soldiers hunted civilians like prey, burning villages, executing intellectuals, and silencing anyone who dared to dream of freedom. The terror was unimaginable. Families fled. Entire towns emptied overnight. Nearly 10 million refugees poured into India, desperate for safety, shelter, and hope. The world watched, but India couldn't just watch. A full-blown refugee crisis was unfolding at its doorstep. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi saw the disaster unfold and knew war was inevitable. She urged her military leadership to act. But India wasn't ready. The army needed time to plan, to prepare, to strike with precision. And so, they waited. But West Pakistan wasn't going to wait. On December 3, 1971, Pakistan launched a surprise attack on Indian air bases. The war was now official. India had a clear plan: defend the Western Front and attack the West Pakistani army in East Pakistan. By land, sea and air, India unleashed its full military might. The Indian Navy blockaded ports. The Air Force dominated the skies, and the army, alongside Mukti Bahini fighters, began liberating territory town by town. On December 4th, Pakistani leader Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, realizing defeat was near, rushed to the United Nations to demand a ceasefire. The United States and other permanent members shockingly supported Pakistan, turning a blind eye to the genocide in Bangladesh. But the Soviet Union stood with India, using its veto power to block any resolution that would save the aggressors. On December 6th, Bhutan became the first country to officially recognize Bangladesh. And on December 12th, Bhutto returned to New York once again, pleading for US intervention to stop the war. India knew time was running out. Indian forces surrounded Dhaka, cutting off every escape route. The message was clear: surrender or face total destruction. Faced with no other option, Lieutenant General A.A.K. Niazi surrendered. On December 16, 1971, in one of the largest surrenders since World War II, 93,000 Pakistani soldiers laid down their arms. India and the Mukti Bahini had won, and East Pakistan was no more. In July 2, 1972, the Shimla Agreement was signed between India and Pakistan. In this agreement, both sides recognized Bangladesh as an independent country and agreed to release Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. In return, India gave back 13,000 square kilometers of land in West Pakistan and released 93,000 West Pakistani prisoners of war. And that's how a new nation was born. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, drop a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Got thoughts or ideas? The comments are all yours. See you in the next one.